Hi, my name is NPC, and this is going to be a guide for how to fight Nier in Granblue vs. Rising. Nier is a puppet character, or sometimes described as a persona character, who has been talked about a lot for being a character that is very frustrating to fight, as puppet characters notoriously are, as they get to do things not other characters get to do, right? Things that create some visual noise, very annoying to defend against. She's got some cross-up moves, she's got some really big buttons. Definitely a character that has given people trouble thus far, but this guide is going to be about how to defend, options that we have to defend and fight against this character. It's going to be a little bit jank and kind of just thrown together. I've never really done one of these before, but we are just going to get right into it. Alright, so how does Nier work? Nier is a puppet character, or more like a persona character from Persona 4 Arena, right? She can displace death using her air unique, or she can also just chuck 2 and 4 and send death out, and whenever death is on screen, the normals will be sent from death herself, and Nier's medium and heavy normals and her sweep get shorter, right? So Nier obviously has this gauge right under her super gauge, right? The Love's Redemption gauge. She's got 13 stocks, and she spends stocks by canceling specials into each other. Death will execute the specials in the order Nier inputs them, and she can do one of each special, right? And for every time she buffers a special behind another one, or queues it up, it costs 1 stock. If I just do 2 and 4, 2, 3, 6, that is 1 stock. She also spends a stock for using an EX move, and she spends a stock for using an ultimate move. Right, so when she cancels into an EX move, that costs 2 stocks. So Nier uses her stocks by using special moves, but how does she get stocks back, right? The answer is really, she doesn't until she runs out. So I'll turn the character specific settings down to 1 to show this real quick. When Nier burns her last stock, this gauge starts to fill up, and you have to wait 15 seconds for the puppet to come back, and during that time, she can't use any specials or supers, right? If I just start hitting the skill button, nothing happens. Super easy input, nothing happens, right? She has access to system mechanics, but she doesn't have her special moves, and she is stuck with her short normals, right? To show that real quick, notice how I have to get pretty normal range, right? Okay, this is roughly the range of like Fairy's Firelight, right? Or sweep, right? Looking like a pretty normal sweep around this range. I believe Cheetah's also hits. Nope, maybe a little bit shorter, but her sweep range gets a lot more normal compared to when the puppet is stocked and she can sweep you from all the way out here, right? Or this medium button is connecting from all the way out here. So puppetless Nier is a lot weaker, no reversals, only system mechanics, and shorter buttons. As a result, I think a good game plan against Nier is to try and make her run out of stocks, force her to be put in a situation kind of like was already on screen with her having 1 stock, where she has to be really intentional about how she's going to use the pet. If I autopilot and pressure as Nier, and do something like this, whoops, then I spent my last stock, and even if I hit you from here, I don't really get a lot of reward from that. I can get a throw, it's a safe jump, but what are you afraid of if you're getting hit, right? So you kind of want to get Nier into a position where her offense becomes weaker by virtue of her literally not being able to do her offense, right? Because she doesn't have the stocks to use the pet. So this guide is going to kind of cover the options you have to defend against Nier, and not all of them are going to be winning situations, like you can kill her for doing certain things, but some of these are just going to be avoid losing the situation. So Nier burns her stocks, and you can get to a position where you can play way more aggressive, and she has to be a lot more scared as a result of not having any type of defensive reversal or anything like that. Alright, so actually defending against Nier. Nier's layer 1, right? I think personally, I think Nier's strongest situation is going to be when she has you blocking her 236, right? I have a basic recording here. If I go to slot 1 real quick, where Nier is going to put me in a block string where she can reset pressure, right? As you can see, that was pretty fast. If I try to mash on any part of this, right? Like right after the auto combo, I get counter hit. If I try and press after blocking this, I get hit. Right? And if I try to press after this, I also get hit, right? Nier's +7 when she pulls you in, and she can really kind of strike throw you off of that. But as sort of prerequisite for defending against Nier, right? +7 into strike throw, you're not immediately throwable because of throw protection, so she does have to wait a little bit. And the person, I think, a good way of defending against strike throw in situations like this is prioritizing blocking and trying to react to the throw, right? I'll have another setup where Nier's going to try and throw me. And if I'm just kind of watching to see if I get hit, I can sort of react to the throw, right? Obviously it's not 100% reliable. No one's reactions are perfect 100% of the time, but I think it's a lot more reliable than trying to gamble on when to press there, especially knowing that most of her existing pressure will just frame trap, especially when you block that, right? So that's a strong situation for her. She's plus, she gets a run strike throw on you, and special moves, so you're taking a little bit of chip, right? As you can see from my health bar out there, it's nothing crazy, but it is still a little bit of chip, especially as we get later on in the round. That might hurt a little bit more, right? So what can we do against this? One important thing to know about Nier's 236 series is this is actually dodgeable and punishable, right? I even have the EX one here, and EX is more active and gives her better reward, but I can still dodge and punish that, right? From what I've tested so far, if you dodge this, you can punish with an 8-frame move. Narmaya's 2M in her Setsuna stance punishes it, but her far M doesn't. Her far M in that stance is 9 frames, and her crouching one is 8. Jita, I believe, has 7-frame normals here, and she can very easily punish off a dodge. I think going for a medium might be a little tight. It might just feel tighter for me because I'm on PS4 Slim right now, but you can also just punish with jab, as most characters. The gap being 8 frames definitely gives you time to do something, right? So if you're expecting her to just kind of run this autopilot offense, you can call that out with dodge and get a punish, right? Notice how even in the right hand side of the screen, after this is going to say, whoops, if I don't mess it up, it's going to say punish, right? So that's real. You can always do that against Nier when you expect 236. However, Nier naturally has ways to cover this. I accidentally overwrote one of my recordings, but I can show another one here. Where if I am just going to autopilot dodge after the auto combo, I'm just going to get hit by specials that follow that up, right? In some cases, for example, I believe this string, it works, where if I dodge after the auto combo, because 236 is there, I can act, right? I didn't do anything, but you can see that there was time to act here, right? Versus there are still strings that she has that can trap the dodge after blocking the first special. Right, there's a punish. If I set up another string here, right, another pretty basic string. I just have Nier blocking after, right? If I dodge here, I'm going to get hit, right? So you can only effectively really dodge the 236, otherwise there's too many combinations that can hit you. So don't autopilot dodge after the auto combo, just know that it is an option that you can represent against 236 in order to not be caught in looping pressure forever. Because otherwise, Nier in theory can just loop this on you until she runs out of stocks. Because since she pulls you back in, she can just kind of keep doing it until she runs out of stocks. So if you want to avoid that situation, if you want to actually take your turn back and punish her for it, you can dodge there. So another winning situation against Nier, right, is when she does multiple specials in a row. So when Nier queues up multiple specials in a row, right, let me go back to this recording. Notice in her cooldowns, right, how you can see when she does two specials go dark, right? She doesn't have normal cooldowns like the rest of the cast, but her cooldowns are structured such that she can't repeat specials in a string. So if I'm Nier and I do 623, that comes down, that cooldown comes back as soon as the 623 recovers. However, I can't do something like 623, 236, 623, right? I can only use specials once per string. But if you notice, even for a recording like this one, right? Nier does not physically look actionable until around the time the second one connects. This gives us a pretty clear window to DP her. A lot of characters, of course, if they're doing an approaching special move, they're going to be vulnerable, and unless they have armor or something, you can just DP that pretty consistently. Nier is one case where she is actually locking herself into a state of vulnerability with this. And notice how it's punish on the right side. I can DP that really consistently. Now, apart from just expecting when the Nier player is going to want to run multiple specials on you, you can also look at her cooldown bar at the top, right? And you can observe what goes dark, right? I believe this is a string where she's going to do multiple specials, right? Notice how 3 specials go dark. Even in my peripheral vision, I can kind of catch those going dark, and if I want to use that as a way to react to her offense, I can try and take notice when I'm seeing those go dark and then try and DP there, right? In this case, I hit it a little bit late. But you can punish her when you see these, right? By the third one, a lot of the time, it's going to be... She's probably going to have recovered by the time you're blocking the third one, so it becomes a little bit more risky after that. But when you anticipate the Nier is trying to go run a string on you like that, you can DP her because she's not going to recover from summoning in time in order to hit you or block. As you can see, when she queues up a special, she's stuck in that animation where she's clutching her head for a little while, right? And the animation time varies a little bit from special to special as she queues them up, right? Not all special times are equal. But even if you don't know the exact timings for everything, if she's queuing up 2 specials in your face, you can just rip DP and it'll hit her, right? And another straightforward winning situation is when you are mid-screen. Nier gets a really good throw setup, where she can set up 2-2M to hit meaty, right? You can roll through it, you can dodge it, but this is meaty. If I start pressing on wake up after this, I'm going to get hit, right? In the corner, however, if she does this auto loses the DP. So it's a pretty strong situation for Nier, because on block it leaves her plus 12 and it pulls you in towards her. But if I'm just hitting DP on wake up, it's a punish. You can see the punish on the right side of the screen. You can guaranteed punish that. Even characters with ultimate DPs, of course, with the ultimate slowdown, it slows her down even more. So you definitely get a punish on that. Don't let her get away with this in the corner. Of course, like everyone else, she can just safe jump you off of throw, but if a Nier player is being lazy or not paying attention and they just go for this setup in the corner, and you see her just starting to summon, she cannot safely summon on you on throw wake up in the corner. If you try this mid-screen, there is a chance that your DP will just whip on Nier and only hit the puppet. Right? Like I killed Death, but Nier is right here. In this situation, Nier can convert with Raging Chain. So you're still vulnerable to this, even if Death is dead, right? She does have to spend the resources to go into Raging Chain in order to convert, but you're still taking that damage, right? In the corner, though, she just doesn't have that space for DP to win. And if she steps back to create it, it's no longer meaty. Her throw leaves her plus 42, and the first frame that the 2-2M hits is frame 43, so it's going to hit you frame 1 of your wake up. She does not have time to walk out and do that setup and bait you. So if she tries to do that, you're not actually getting meaty, right? In other words, if she's throwing you in the corner and she's trying to set up puppet, DP her, it's fake. Now that we've talked about the more winning situations against Nier, we can get to some of the more ambiguous situations, namely the RPS against dealing with puppet zoning. So if I have Jita set to jab, I've switched now, so the dummy is Jita. Jab will kill these specials on block, right? Even if I'm close up, jab is always going to kill these, right? Even if I queue up a special otherwise. The only one that's an exception to that is 236, full frame trap. The reason why I said it's an RPS situation is because if I know that Jiro wants to jab, I can use 623 to frame trap that and potentially convert as well, right? That is a hit that I can pull up on and convert. I just kind of left it at that for the sake of demonstration. But there's some risk reward to if you want to press on this because she can trap you, right? The important thing to note is she's spending stocks to do that. So even if you end up holding that, she's spending stocks, right? And again, if you block this one, you're always able to kill the puppet. The worst case scenario for you as a defender is if you allow Nier to pull up by not doing 623 and doing these other specials, right? In which case this is a stronger situation for her, but she spent extra stocks to do it, and you can still just play defense normally here, right? She's not able to run a high-low mix-up on you, it's kind of strike throw, and she's going to be plus, so you can't press immediately. But you can possibly DP, you can be ready to tech her throw, you can try to guard cancel if she starts running her pressure again. You've made her spend stocks, and you're in a defensive position, is the outcome of just blocking there, right? In the document that I'll be attaching with this video, I'll have the RPS here more detailed in the flowchart there, and honestly the document will probably explain a lot of this better anyways, so if this is unclear, my apologies. I'm not very good at this, but the document will hopefully help make things a lot more clear. The thing you want to know is if Nier is around this range and she's trying to get in, she has to spend stocks to get in, if she wants to use her puppet to do so. Her safest play is always going to be playing around her normals, but you don't want to let Nier just like zone you for free out here, or even if she does, you want to be ready for her to pull up and not be too scared of that situation, try and react too quickly. Alright, so I've swapped back to having Nier as the dummy, and now I'm going to go over the case of what if Nier has already hit you, right? What are some of the other cases that we can represent? So one of the recordings I have is going to be like a basic combo that I will go for very often because it only spends a couple stocks and it gets Nier one of her strong Oki situations, right? And I'll turn on the frame data display too, hopefully it shows it from this combo so we can see the kind of advantage that comes with this. Right, so Nier is just going to route into simple EX and set up 236M, right? And even after going for that hit, she's plus. If Nier doesn't do that, she's plus like 80 something. That setup is really strong, right? But the important thing to recognize on the setup is we have system mechanics, we have guard cancel, right? I mentioned that if Nier hits you with 236, you can always dodge. The exception to that is going to be when you are under 236 Amoki. Because this move is way too active, you're just going to get hit if you try to wake up dodge. Do not do that. However, we have guard cancel, right? Oops, I am habitually blocking. But if I am holding 236 Amoki, and I think Nier is about to go for a mix-up there, then I can guard cancel and stop her. And personally, especially as a Nier player, I think that is the strongest point to guard cancel because high-low mix, in my opinion, is the strongest mix-ups of the game. A hard to react to high-low mix is not something a lot of characters get. It beats throw protection because there's no like high-low protection. There's no guard button to auto-block the left-right for you. High-low protection, high-low mix-ups are the one thing that doesn't have systematic protection on it. So it is going to be like the strongest mix-up that you can possibly hold. And if you sense that that could be coming, then I definitely think the right play is to try and guard cancel there. Nier can also go for a setup if I change recording slots real quick. Where Nier can do... Whoops, gotta turn off blocking. Similar setup into cross-up overhead, right? So that is another option that she has, right? Oops, I was not recording for any of that. Right, she can go for dash M, which is a cross-up overhead, right? If I am recording myself against this, and I use the guard button, I can block this. But again, that's kind of a tough mix-up to hold, because she can also just do dash 2M and hit you with a low and potentially convert even easier off of that, right? It's a little bit reactable because the startup of her dash N is 26 frames. But again, that is a mix-up situation that I can avoid entirely with guard canceling, right? Notice how if I hold this setup, when Nier goes for the 6-6M, I can still guard cancel and it'll hit her, right? So guard canceling against 2-3-6M, in general, is going to be the best point to guard cancel. If you represent it too early, it could be easy for her to bait. If you represent it too late, you could also end up in a rough situation. But if you have an anticipation of when approximately Nier is going to try and mix you up, then you can guard cancel on that to try and break out of the 2-3-6M AP. And the important thing to know is, even if the guard cancel is blocked, right? I don't have any recording that'll show her blocking it right now, but if the guard cancel is blocked, the defender who used guard cancel is +6. So even if your guard cancel is baited on block, it's your turn, right? So guard canceling against 2-3-6M is going to be one of your best situations for avoiding the crazy mix-ups that she can throw out. The scary part is obviously that it costs 1 BP, and a lot of characters like to use their BP for their own conversions as well, and even just getting put into that situation twice means that if you guard cancel twice, you're down to 1 BP and taking more damage. But the important thing is that you're avoiding the mix-up and you're giving yourself more of a chance to play the game, and she's spending stocks to get that situation. As I said earlier, the reason I like this setup as a Nier player is because it only costs 2 stocks to set up. But as you can see, my hit stun ends right around then. Usually the setup that Nier players are going to go for, if they're trying to actually convert, will spend 1 more stock. Right? So if I'm doing basic combo, I will actually queue up 2-2M, because that'll pull Jita back in, and actually do another hit to potentially convert off something like a dash M. Right. The timing was a little bit early there, but you can see how with a better time dash M, that turns into a pickup for Nier. So she gets her strongest situations off of that, but 3 stocks spent for Nier, right? I ate a chunk of damage from that, probably also because I kind of just held it, and honestly her damage is pretty crazy right now. But if I am not holding the whole thing, I'm gonna just try holding the guard button, guard canceling, right? I've eaten a decent chunk of damage, but she spent 3 of her stocks, right? And if she spends another few more for pressure, then she's going to be down to half her stocks kind of soon enough. And if I'm not down to 50% and she does the same stuff, I'm not dead, right? Before the puppet runs out. I mean, obviously there's a lot of hypotheticals in what I'm saying right now, but the main idea being, if you guard cancel when Nier goes for a setup, she spent stocks for that, and that's just another way to keep depleting her stocks. So through all of this, the most reliable plan that you can find across all of these defensive options is making Nier spend her stocks. And when she's out of her stocks, you get to ball. So that's all I got for defending against Nier for now. Please check the Google Doc that I'll put in the description for some additional information. Hopefully it should be a lot more organized and easier to understand than me talking really fast and disorganized. But hopefully the visuals here in the video help to go along with that. And that's it. Good luck taking down this Persona character.